Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month Spotlight. And today we are going to spotlight Song Minsoo. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
So nice to see you and have a chance to talk to you about the wonderful work you're doing in the Asian community. And so before we start, I'm going to share a little bit of your mini bio. You are a first generation Korean immigrant from Daegu, Korea. And I was really excited to learn that because I lived in Daegu, Korea for 2 years from ages 10 to 12. And so it was a beautiful time in my life that I remember. And you came to the US in 1997, and you have your master's degree in art history. But you are currently working as an administrative specialist for the City of Aurora's Office of International and Immigrant Affairs. And in your office, you manage the citywide international protocol, and you host international delegations. You plan international missions for the mayor and city council members, and you oversee programs for immigrant and refugee community, and you collaborate with all other city departments. And one of the most popular events that you oversee is the Global Fest, which everybody looks forward to it, and so much fun. So welcome again.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Yes. So I started by calling you Song Minsoo. And so for people who don't understand Korean culture, normally we use the last name first. So your last name is Song and your first name is Minsoo. So when I call you Minsoo, I don't want people to get confused because she said Song, right? So I think that's something a lot of people might find interesting to learn about. But you're also a mom of 2 and wife. And so you are juggling so many important responsibilities, and especially during this time in the quarantine, you have to be mom and wife and work for the city. How do you do it all?
I just have a great support system because my kids and my family, my husband, they're just being really helpful throughout this time. Yeah.
You know, I want to talk about how important your department is. You put on this annual Global Fest, and normally I'm either traveling or, not in Aurora during the time that you put on the Global Fest. But this past year, I went to the Global Fest for the first time, and I was so excited to see all of the food and all of the different entertainment, and people from all over the world come together so peacefully and have a great time. How long does it take for you to plan that one-day event?
So actually, we do have internal Global Fest planning committee, and we start meeting mid-January. And usually we have our event third week of August. So it takes about 7 months to plan for Global Fest.
Is Global Fest something the city is still planning? Are they hoping that they'll be able to do that this year?
Well, city has not made the final decision yet because there's a restriction on mass gatherings, but hopefully we'll get a final decision by next week.
Oh, well, that's quick. So well, you would probably need to know so that you can start planning and hiring people to come. And do the people who do the entertainment, are they volunteering, the dancers and?
Yeah, actually, we have 2 separate stages, like a community stage and main stage, and all the performers on the community stage is 100% volunteer based.
So if you want to be involved in Global Fest, I would assume people just go to the website and they can put in an application to be a part of that?
Yeah, also I usually send out email to all our community leaders and community organizations. So I send out applications so they could just fill out the application and send it back to me, and they're on our schedule.
Well, and that's how we met, because you reached out to me and I'm like, so nice to, it's been fun doing these spotlights because I pretty much know mostly everybody that I've been spotlighting for the month of May. But you and I had never actually met, and you reached out to me and I said, oh my goodness, you're the perfect person to have a conversation with because of the work that you do. What would you say? I mean, for a city to have a department like this, someone had to have a mission and a vision for a department like this. What would you say would be some of the goals and reasons why we have this department in the city of Aurora?
Because Aurora is the most diverse city in the state of Colorado. And I think every day Aurora is becoming more diverse and international city. And Aurora's international community is one of the city's greatest asset. And we are really fortunate to have city leadership. They committed themselves to facilitate the successful integration of our immigrant and refugee communities. So that's how our office was established. And we were so fortunate to work with other city departments to assist our international community.
It's such a beautiful display and a representation of the rest of not only Colorado, but the United States, of the model that Aurora has in bringing people together. I bought my first little townhouse in Aurora, and then I bought my first house in Centennial, which was still part of Arapahoe County. And I have so much love for the city because you're right. Every time I would go to the grocery store, or I'm a teacher, so I would teach kids from all over the globe who speak so many different languages. Almost 100 different languages are represented in our metro area. And just to see how, and it's not easy. It's not easy to bring people with their own lived experiences, because it's one thing to be an immigrant and it's another thing to be a refugee who's seeking, to be here and going through that pathway to be a part of our community here in the United States. Children who may not have gone to a school building, and now they're in a very structured place. And so the fact that the city leadership recognizes that this is important to support our community is such a beautiful thing to transition. What are some of the feedback that you hear from community members with the Global Fest?
So Global Fest, I think all our international community, they're just eager to be part of, because they want to showcase their cultural heritage. So it's a perfect annual celebration of our diversity and inclusion. And we just showcase our cultural heritage through musical and dance performance and fashion show and parade of nations and international marketplace and food vendors. So it's a great summer multicultural experience. If you want to, well, you could travel all around the world, but if you just come to the Global Fest and you get to experience all different cultures at one space.
That is a great point. It's expensive, and people aren't really flying that much right now. And so if we can get this to work where people can still stay safe and we can be conscious and respectful, I think, man, it's fun to see the children. There's bouncy houses. Okay, so I want to put in a commercial here for Global Fest. If you haven't gone, it is the perfect family event, because there's bouncy houses and you can throw your kids in the bouncy house for hours, and games and the food trucks. And these are small business owners, people who live and work in Aurora, who are living the American dream, and they have their own little business. And there's also booths, like vendors who are selling beautiful art and clothing from their country. And so it's an opportunity for us to help build the economy in Aurora and support what people are doing, what they're making with their hands and their sweat and their tears. And loving the community. And so I hope it happens, and we're going to look on the website to see the
Okay.
latest news. So when talking about delegations, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes we have important people who fly into the city, and sometimes you go to other countries. And tell me what that's like, having all of these people come and you're traveling. I just would love to hear you just talk about your experience with that.
So through State Department, we host international delegation very regularly, at least like once a month. And these visitors are coming from all over the world. And like we recently hosted like a delegation from like Europe and like South America. And also we have a sister city relationship. So we have a big delegation from Songnam City, and our city staff was out there to do like a municipal exchange program as well. So it's always great to travel. It's always great to meet all the people from all different world, and they have so much to offer. So like I just learn every day.
Wow. So if an average citizen wants to support, are there volunteer opportunities throughout the year for different things that the community can be involved in?
So what how our office operates is we work really close with like community organizations or like community groups. So for example, we work really closely with like Colorado Korean Association and National Unification Advisory Council. So if they are planning some kind of cultural event or anyone, then city wants to be part of it. And we want to show our support, and we want to show our appreciation for our community. So if you are planning any kind of event, please let us know. Please let us be part of it.
That's beautiful, because we definitely want to get the word out to the community, and I'm sure the city can help with that. And this is a great lesson in civics, understanding how government works and who makes decisions. And we are about the people, and so
Mhm.
people need to understand that if you want to impact your community, you have the power to impact your community. And when people come from different countries, especially, we talk a lot about the Asian community, that a lot of times in the Asian community, we tend to be very quiet and we don't speak out.
Yeah.
And, we if we do something, it's just with our own people, right?
Mhm.
But we want to encourage people in the Asian community to get involved. And it's okay if you're Korean and you just want to be involved in the Korean community, well, then we definitely want you to get involved in the Korean community, or there's the Japanese community. But, there would be some wonderful opportunities for us to blend together and in solidarity, like support, because that's what being a humanitarian is all about. And the better we understand each other, the more we can live at peace with each other, because we're seeing so much in our world that's very sad, and it really is important for us to spend time with each other and
Mhm.
understand. Don't you think?
Definitely. I couldn't agree more with you at that point. And I was gonna say this one for later, but during this pandemic crisis, I witnessed really something special, because one community was able to step up to help other community by sharing limited resources. So local Korean organization, the National Unification Advisory Council Denver chapter, they got KF94 mask from Korea, manufactured in Korea, and they donated 600 KF94 masks to City of Aurora. So we were able to deliver those masks to all the community groups and community organization who's been helping our own immigrant refugee community. So I was able to deliver those masks to like Village Exchange Center, like Roma community who's been helping their own community members. So like it was great to see how one community was able to step up and sharing those resources. And so I think that's what we need to keep on doing.
That is so beautiful. I had forgotten about that because I remember reading a few weeks ago and I said, wow, this is amazing that we're able to, you know, take care of one another with the masks. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's so important for us to remember and highlight the beautiful things that people are doing. And I would say for cultures that are not in the Asian community, you know, we would love to know about you know, things that you do. You know, we love trying different foods and going into different parts of the community and supporting other people because, you know, everybody's, you know, doing their best to create a great life for themselves. And so we want to let people in the other communities know that the Asian community loves you too, you know, and we want you to come and eat at our restaurants. And K-pop, and I know it's so popular with my students who are not Korean. I don't have a lot of Korean students, but I love K-pop. And so I'm really excited that there's wonderful to hear wonderful things happening in the city of Aurora. And we have a mayor whose dad was in the Korean War, right? Yes. Mike Kaufman's dad was a Korean War veteran. And so he really does appreciate and support the Asian community in Aurora. Let's see, have I hit everything? Minsoo. I don't feel like we've talked about so many really neat things. Let's see, collaborate, international, hosting, all these cool things. Okay. So during this time, you know, being locked into our homes with the pandemic, what is something that has put a smile on your face and brought you joy?
So I could say two different things. One for my personal life, like we were able to spend a lot of time and we did a lot of home cooking. So it was a great to appreciate each other more. And it was a great like family bonding time. And for work-wise, so City of Aurora has language access plan, and actually our office manages language assistance service. So we were able to translate COVID-related information from like CDC or Tri-County Health Department into like 10 of the most widely spoken languages in Aurora. So we were able to circulate those information. So by doing that, we were able to provide like accurate and vital information to our international community. And General Consulate Office in San Francisco, actually, they shared our Korean translation on their Facebook website. So I was like, yay! So what we did, like also like impacted all the Korean community all over the States. So it's not just a Korean community because we were able to translate this material in 10 different languages. So can you imagine how many people were able to get the accurate information through that? So that was my joy, definite joy.
I can see the joy because that is a big task. I know like, you know, the 2020 census has been a big topic for us in the Asian community because we are the most distrusting of the government statistically. And we were having trouble in the last census 10 years ago of collecting information. And so as the translations were coming through, I just thought, wow, I mean, I know working in DPS, how long it takes to translate a document. And so that is a big, big accomplishment for 10 languages, and then to be the model. Again, you guys are the model throughout the US. So congratulations on that accomplishment. And I see your joy, and you are like the right person for this job because you know exactly what you're doing. Clearly, you know exactly what you're doing, and helping out so many people. And I just enjoyed 반갑습니다. I just like really so nice to meet you and talk to you. And this is the beginning of our partnership.
And I just want to say thank you for organizing this great, like creative way to celebrate our Asian heritage. So thank you so much.
한만해요. Okay. 건강하세요.
감사합니다.
And for those who don't understand that, that means be good health and be well. And 고마워요 and 수고하세요. Don't work too hard. And which is not a nice thing to say because Koreans we like to work hard. Okay. But be well and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.